Hi everyone, this is Zach with Engadget, and it's my pleasure to introduce you to the HTC Status, otherwise known as the Cha-Cha, or if you're feeling coy, America's first Facebook phone. Now, the first thing you'll notice about this device is it does feature a dedicated QWERTY keyboard, as well as a context-sensitive Facebook button. I'll be showing you a bit more about that later in the review. But I want to first get into a bit of the technical specifications of this device. It features a 2.6-inch screen with HVGA resolution, meaning 480 by 320 pixels. It's powered by a Qualcomm MSM 7227 system on a chip with an 800 MHz CPU and an Adreno 200 graphics chip. It's running Gingerbread, or Android 2.3.3, and features 512 megabytes of RAM, 512 megabytes of ROM, and features Bluetooth 3.0, Wi-Fi all the way up to 802.11n, and features a 1250 milliamp hour battery. Along the side, you'll notice that there's a gentle bend or curve to the phone. And this does help orient the screen a bit more toward the user and makes it quite nice to look at. It's very subtle and yet it's appreciated. One thing I did notice about the device though is that it's not perfectly balanced. The weight is distributed a bit more on the upper end of the phone, and unless you've got a good grasp on it, there is a higher possibility that you will lose track of it. Back to the side, it features your dedicated volume rocker right there, as well as a micro USB port. Up top, we have a headphone jack, as well as the power button. The right side is completely bare, and along the bottom there is a microphone port. Now along the back side of the phone you do have your camera pod, which features a 5 megapixel autofocus camera, LED flash, and a dedicated loudspeaker right there. Up top you'll find a chrome speaker grill, as well as a front-facing VGA video camera right there. Now, when turning on the device, or it coming out of the lock screen, you'll notice that it has some Sense 3.0 functionality, such as the ability to drag your phone, mail, camera, or messages into the ring and get quick access to that functionality. Of course, you can also just drag the ring up and you have access to your home screen. Now, unlike most versions of Sense, your home screen is actually positioned on the leftmost rather than in the center. There's nothing more to see if you go further left. Rather than 7 home screens, there's 5. And you have a dedicated Facebook chat widget that's actually quite a lot of fun. It's a lot quicker than SMS. With a good keyboard, you're able to talk quickly, send, receive, and I found it quite enjoyable. The only thing is, you're consistently logged into Facebook, so even if you're sleeping, friends think you're online. If you don't want that, you need to deliberately sign out of Facebook. Back to the home screen, you'll see that HTC has fit quite a lot in there. It's a bit crowded, a bit cramped, but you know, hats off to HTC for fitting as much possible functionality as they could into such a small area. You do have your dedicated notification drawer, but unfortunately there's no quick option to jump over to your quick settings to enable or disable things like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, etc. Now let's talk Facebook for a minute, because I know you're all dying to see that. If I pull up the Facebook button, the default option is to update my wall post, and I'll do that right away. I'll say I'm reviewing the HTC status, and we'll click send, and it's on its way to Facebook. The next thing I'm able to do is, say I want to just post a picture to Facebook rather than a status update. I can move something into view of the camera. So we have a pencil right here. I'll autofocus on that. Take my picture. I have the option to retake the picture or call it good, so I'll click done. And I can click post and send that off to Facebook as well. Now the next thing you're able to do is, say you were on, say you want to check into a place. You just hold down the Facebook button and check-ins come in. It's going to automatically search for businesses in your area, and you have the ability to check into any of them. So I'm going to lie right now and say that I'm at the RAM. I'll go ahead and check in, and we're done. The next thing I want to do is take you online, and we'll explore one further detail of the Facebook button. So I'm going to pull up the internet, and we're at Engadget's webpage right now. Can scroll through that, and I'd like to share with everyone the story about Lion coming up tomorrow if possible. So there it is. This is coming in over AT&T's 3G network right now. We'll be able to scroll down. We can do the pinch to zoom. All in all, it works quite well. Can also do the double tap and have that reformatted for column view, which does result in nice reading. It's probably what you'll be doing most of the time on a screen this small, but you know, that's to be expected, and when you are reading in column view, it does work quite well. What I did want to show you though is, say I want to share this article with the world. I will just click on my Facebook button and I'll say Lion available for download tomorrow. I'll hit post, and that's now going to be on my Facebook wall. Now the next thing I want to show you is a bit about apps on the device. So I'll go into our menu right here. This is your application menu on the HTC status, and I'm going to pull up the Engadget application. Now one thing you'll notice is that for many applications, unfortunately, they must be viewed with the phone in a horizontal aspect like this. It's not necessarily HTC's fault, you know, it's partially on the developers, but it is something that you'll need to contend with. And imagine for a second if you're in an app that you want to, say, type a comment or send a message. You'll either be typing like this or typing more naturally, but watching your text come across sideways. So that is a bit disconcerting, and it's something that you need to be aware of. The next thing I want to show you is just how terribly difficult it is to remove the battery cover. Now, in the instructions, it tells you that the cover can be removed with your thumbs, but it's just not going to happen. So the only way that I've found to quickly get into your battery compartment is to sandwich the phone between your hands, apply a good deal of force, and there comes the battery cover. Now, I'm going to remove the battery and show you what's going on inside. we have a spring-loaded SIM card slot right here, as well as the spring-loaded microSD card slot. Now, unfortunately, this means that you have to remove the battery to get to your microSD card slot. And the fact that the battery cover is such a pain to remove in the first place, it's kind of a problem. The next thing I want to show you is a bit about the keyboard itself and its autocorrect features. So I'm going to pretend that I am updating my wall again, and I'll say, who's coming to Boise? So I have prediction off right now, but even with prediction off, I'd still like the phone to know that who's should be properly contracted. So I'm going to go into my settings and enable auto prediction. Got it. So we're going to try this again. We have who's there's the proper contraction right there, coming to Boise, question mark, except look at that, it auto-corrected to who's coming to noise. And my thought is, when you're on a dedicated QWERTY keyboard like this, you know what you're typing, and it's really not necessary to have the phone auto-correct your spelling like that. Granted, you do want contractions because no one wants to type apostrophes. And of course, I can add this to my custom dictionary, but when you're typing quickly, you're not going to catch every word and every correction that the phone makes. So it'd be really nice to see a feature that is more or less a lazy mode, where you're able to get your auto contractions and yet the phone isn't going to guess what you're trying to say and correct you, because that just ends up being quite frustrating and, as we've seen, can be quite embarrassing at times. Just a little bit more about the keyboard. You've already seen that there is a dedicated .com button which you can access by first activating the Alt key, but there's also a quick camera shortcut right here, and that's quite nice. Although on the space bar there's quite obviously a quick shortcut for settings as well, except when I do Alt and space, it just types a space in the dialer. So there's some missing connection there that needs to be fixed. The next thing, I do really appreciate the fact that you can just dial from the keyboard itself, rather than having to dig through your call log, dig through your contact list, etc. You'll get instant access to your friends, and it's a really nice feature that you don't get on a typical touchscreen device. Of course, you can just start dialing a number as well. Hit the send key, and you'll be off to the races. Again, it's nice to have these features that you once upon a time took for granted and all of a sudden lost when you got an entire touchscreen phone. So please be sure to read all